Hello, this is February 15th, the Tangerine Blood Orange Mystic Evolution Torture Report. And I always have to, duck my head and hunker down uh, during the holidays because I'm some sort of um, a symbolic effigy for evil. And so they try to make me a human sacrifice, particularly at holidays like this. And this one was no exception, and it was extremely, extremely horrible and painful. And I, you know, have become a pro at just trying to rise above and ride the upper currents of humanity, while sad, pathetic gang members try to tear me to shreds. And they have been particularly enjoying very high concentrations of battery acid at my eyes and face and ears. And I think I've withstood it pretty well, although my eyesight is damaged, and without my glasses, things are pretty blurry right now. I hope it's only temporary. And leveling horrible, extremely toxic, violent electrochemical weaponry at my pelvic region, and chest and other areas of my body. What they call Sharknado, when they use these extreme concentrations of toxic chemicals. For instance, after the marathon Sharknado, throughout the hours of February 13th and 14th, they started in at 10 p.m. last night. And it's almost 2 o'clock now, and they've hardly let up yet. I've had a couple hours of sleep, hours in a detox bath, a lot of the time screaming in agony as they shoot at my eyes with horrible acidic chemicals. And I'm not speaking of these things out of ego, but I'm just making notice of certain manifestations of my life, because this gang are mind-controlled zombie children. It's some sort of a cult like Heaven's Gate, a murder-suicide cult on steroids, because I believe that there's nanotechnology and drugs at work as to what they're being fed, and who knows what else. Because most of them are around 14 or 15 years old, so they haven't been allowed to have their minds develop like normal humans. And so there's been over 100 of them, from what I have learned over the past few years, and they're dying out in droves now. And in particular, on February 13th, I started to go into panic mode, not just because of the abuse happening to me at their hands, but just sensing that hearing how they're being starved and diseased, and how cold it is down there for them, that I just went into panic mode, and I called the Eugene police force a bunch of times. The FBI won't pick up the phone when I call anymore, because they're closer to the source of who's responsible for this. Although the police, I hear, trained these youths to do what they do. And then so I just felt moved to post on my Facebook page, and you can look down on the night of February 13th, this vignette from the movie After Earth, where the young hero is trying to get a homing device after his spaceship crashed to send a signal to get the rescue ships to come down and save him and his wounded father. And he is exhausted, and he created this rudimentary raft for himself to get across a river. And the spirit of his sister visits him while he's exhausted and passed out on the raft. And she's saying, "You gotta wake up." And he starts citing passages from the novel Moby Dick in this sort of reverie, and she's talking sweetly to him, and then all of a sudden you see half of her face rotted away, and she screams, "Get up! Wake up!" So I felt moved to post that on my Facebook wall, and I wasn't really sure why. And then the next morning, the deep state police officers who are speaking endlessly for hours through underground speakers below boards said, "Too many of you have died in your sleep. You have to get out. Too many of you have died in your sleep." And the thing about that scene in After Earth was that the young hero, he had to wake up because when night falls on the doomed planet, which is Earth, that humans had to evacuate from because it became too savage a habitat, the climate is so unstable at this point that the temperature drops below levels where human life can sustain itself, and that you have to get to certain sort of refuges of warmth, or you will die of the cold. And so, like I said, the Eugene police, they make note of everything I say. And they bird dog that a lot of kids February 13th died in their sleep of hypothermia February 13th. In those underground bunkers below my apartment, where many are held hostage by a handful of child killers trained by the deep state to wield electromagnetic chemical weapons. To crush me and destroy my life, and have over the past 2 years now destroyed so many of their own. And then I just had this random, I've wept and cried, and on February 13th, I called the Eugene Police Department 7 times in a panic before, on Valentine's Day, they alerted me to what had happened in the night. So I've done my suffering at pain work around this issue, as I have periodically since the first one died, whose name was Sitka, about 1.5 years ago. And then I just had this thought today. It's like I'm just in this weird sort of swirl where I just sense stuff that's going to happen, and it just comes out in weird ways. And For decades before the tangerine blood orange evolution was ever a gleam in my eye or anybody's eye, way before 2013, when it started to spark. I started getting this sort of messaging in my head, and it was oranges, 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 oranges. And that would just surface for years. And I would mention it to friends every once in a while. And it's like, I just get this thing, this message, oranges, oranges, in my head. And I have no idea what it means. Orange wasn't my favorite color. I didn't have a particular passion for eating oranges or anything. It was just like, oranges, oranges. What is that? So, I'm caught up in something. And I choose to believe it's species survival, and evil people are making me suffer an awful lot. Uh, I assume because I'm disrupting the status quo, and they're willing to have children die horrible deaths to crush me. And it's just a very weird, bizarre state of events that our species shows up this way. When all of us should be all hands on deck, because our spaceship Earth is about to completely uh, destruct, given all the poison and toxicity and irresponsibility and bad behavior of our species. And why isn't that happening? And I have this stuff that just shows up for me, and then I get caught up in this maelstrom where I haven't hurt a hair on anybody's head. I haven't done anything wrong to deserve this. And no one's going down there to rescue those kids. And that's what they are to me, because science bears out, especially for young males, that you don't reach full maturity until the age of 23. And most of them below boards are below 16 doing this to me. So, the irresponsibility of the human species in my little corner of the world is so off the charts, given what's happening. And my eyesight has definitely been damaged today. They shot really, really terrible acidic chemicals at me, and my eyesight is very blurry right now without my glasses. For what? For what? Anyway, I did the best I could to, raise the energy on Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoyed the poetry and the vignettes and the exchange with people I care about. And I hope you had a sweet day yesterday in spite of it all. And I hope I prove that love conquers all, because that's what I'm here for. Okay, walk safe, be free.